Hey guys, welcome back again to my channel. It's Dale here. I am a registered nurse currently practicing here in Australia. And today, in fact, let me start from last 2 weeks. I think I made a video about pharmacies coming into Australia, and I actually got loads of people asking, hey, what of physiotherapists? Hey, what of radiographers? Hey, what of medical? I said, I've been lost, so I don't have all those information. But luckily for me, I think you mentioned me on Twitter and you were like, we should do one for physio. And I was like, spot on, because I know a lot of people are going to benefit from it. So first of all, thank you so much for gracing my channel, and I'll let you introduce yourself to my audience.
Okay, thank you, Nostia. My name is Adebola. I'm a physiotherapist currently practicing in the UK, and I'm also licensed to practice in New Zealand and in Australia.
I think we use same pathway because I also had to go through New Zealand before coming to Australia.
What happened was before now, that pathway was not available for physiotherapists. You'd have to go through the Australian pathway directly if you want to move to Australia. But in 2022, they made a new pathway that's called currently the Express Pathway for Registration. So this pathway involves people who were trained in UK, Canada, Australia, and South Africa, or who are licensed to practice there, can now register to practice in the UK, in New Zealand, through a pathway known as the Express Pathway. So what they do is, with this pathway, you don't require an exam. All you need
Okay.
to do is submit your credentials, your HCPC license, or your certificate that you were trained in that country, and in a couple of weeks you get your license, and that's it. This started in 2022. So once you have your license to practice in New Zealand, you can, of course, register to practice in Australia as well. It's just straightforward like that.
Okay. So what are the requirements? So for someone that is already a graduate of physiotherapy in Nigeria, what are the basic requirements that they need before they can practice either in New Zealand or in Australia?
The most important requirement, of course, you have to be licensed to practice in Nigeria. If you want to go through the express pathway, is you have to get your UK license.
Okay.
Once you get your UK license, and that's a big hurdle because getting the HCPC for UK right now is not easy at all. I've spoken to a number of people who have said that they've spent 3 months now waiting to get their UK license and they've not heard anything back from the board. For me, in my own case, it took me 20 days, 21 days or so when I got licensed to practice in UK.
When
With
did you
people
move?
I moved last year. What happened is I got my job in 2022. So in 2022, before they started the process, I was trying to get my license to practice in the UK. So I got a license and I was looking for a job in the UK. Now, with New Zealand introducing the express pathway, and also, oh, you mean I can actually apply with my license, get a New Zealand license, and move to New Zealand? What I started doing was I did what is known as cold emails. So I listed all the companies in New Zealand and I started sending them, each of them, a message telling them who I was, what qualification I had. I was excited to get registered through the express pathway. Of course, I sent to over 50 people, but I think about 5 or 6 of them got back to me. I did about 2 interviews and I got both of them. So when I got the job to practice in New Zealand, around the same time, I also got a job in the UK. It was interesting for me because the job in UK came, the job in New Zealand came. What I did then was I now told my sister, why don't you go to New Zealand? I think it's quite easy. She's a nurse. She's currently in Australia now. But
Nice.
what she did, and this is one avenue that some people have also used to go to in New Zealand or in Australia, is because she had her IELTS then at the time. So what she did was she applied as a healthcare assistant to work in New Zealand, and it was that easy. If you are a healthcare practitioner, a doctor, a nurse, a physiotherapist, and assuming you want to migrate to New Zealand or Australia now, if you don't have the money, just write the IELTS exams. Look for care homes. One thing about New Zealand and Australia is that they have just like UK, they have an aging population, so they have a lot of care homes.
Yeah.
So all you need to do is apply for jobs there as a healthcare assistant, and most likely you'll get it. And once you get it, you can move there, work for a while, get your license, and start practicing. I think with my sister's case, when she moved there into New Zealand, they were still doing the CGFNS process and all that. I think they switched to Husky now or something.
Yeah, but you still have to do the CGFNS as well. Yeah, but now they have OSCE.
Okay, so when she moved there, they weren't doing ski yet. She went there as a healthcare assistant, started practicing, and then she got her license and then switched. I have a physiotherapist who also did the same. All you need to do is just get your IELTS, apply for jobs online, and that's all. Or if you want to go as a professional, because I know a lot of people might not want to go as a healthcare assistant, all you need to do is get your HCPC. Coming to New Zealand, you don't need to have IELTS. So you just
Okay.
need to state that English is your first language and provide any proof of English language being your first language. So you could submit a letter from your school, or you could use your actives that you use, yeah, or your transcript, anything. Just provide any proof that, even your passport, if possible, to just show that where you came from is a majority English speaking country. So
So
they'll
they
give
accept
you,
Nigeria as an English speaking country.
I don't know. But they stated
Because
it there. The English is a majorly spoken language. You could use their passport.
yeah, because I know for UK they don't accept Nigeria as English speaking country. So we had to run the IELTS.
I don't know if English is recognized as a major language in New Zealand. I didn't use it. So what I did was I submitted a letter from my school stating I was taught in English language.
And then they
Yeah.
accept.
Yeah, they accepted it. So they
As at that
accepted it.
time you were still in Nigeria.
At that time, I was in the UK already. Early 2023, a lot of people started migrating. So I have a WhatsApp group of over 600 people in the WhatsApp group. I would say over 200 of them have migrated to either Australia or New Zealand. The choice is yours. Depends on
That's
the one you
good.
want to go to.
Well done.
Yeah, thank you. It's very simple. Get your HCPC, get your police report, get your transcript from your university, your certificate from your university, letter of good standing from your board. That's one from the UK, one from Nigeria, and then have them certified. Then you take the cultural competency courses. You have to take those courses. I think nurses also take those courses
Yeah,
too.
we do.
You send them to New Zealand to the board. I think there was a time when the process used to take up to a month before they answer you, but now it takes about 4 days. Just
Oh,
4
that's
days.
good.
Yes. Yeah, so in 4 days they will tell you that you're licensed. Congratulations. And then all you need to do is pay for your APC and start looking for jobs in New Zealand. Now, if you don't want to work in New Zealand, all you need to do is use your APC, pay for AFRA, and start looking for a job to work in Australia.
How much is your APC?
APC is 487 New Zealand dollars.
dollar?
Yes, so that should be about roughly 200 and something pounds. Nigeria, yeah, 480 something thousand naira, almost 500k. Then the New Zealand license used to be 1,600 New Zealand dollars, which is about 1.6 million. But this year they reduced it to 800,000 naira. Yeah, so they reduced it by half.
But after getting all the documents, do you need like any years of experience as a physio?
Not at all.
You people are lucky. So you don't even need to have worked in Nigeria or UK, nothing.
I have two guys who they didn't even do their NYSC. They just finished their internship and got a job and got their license and left. They're in New Zealand now.
They don't care about NYSC. It's only Nigeria that cares about NYSC.
One of them was so lucky that he and his fiancée, they got a job the same time in the same company. He was doing an interview, I think, to work in New Zealand. And he hadn't even gotten his license yet because I told him about the cold email and he wasn't sure. He was scared that if I get the license, will I get a job? So let me get the job first. So he applied through cold emails to many companies in New Zealand and in Australia. So while they interviewed, he was in the interview, he moved his eyes, just looked around the room, and then the interviewer asked him, "Who is that?" He said, "Oh, it's my fiance." And they said, "Okay, what does she do?" He said she's a physiotherapist also. It's okay, can she come into the video too? Came into the video, they had an interview for both of them, and both of them got a job in the same company.
That company is very desperate.
You can just close your eyes, pay for the license fees, and you're as good as being in Australia already. I've not seen anybody who has spent beyond 3 months searching for a job.
So what you're trying to say is somebody can move directly from Nigeria.
So many people have moved
to Australia as a physio.
So many people.
So submit all your documents to the board, get your license. How do you now start for jobs? You mentioned something about cold emails.
Yes. A cold email basically is when you send an email to somebody that wasn't expecting it. So I could just send you an email to you right now. Hello, good morning, Osdale. My name is Adibola. I'm a physiotherapist in Nigeria. I've practiced for 8 years. I'm licensed with the AFRA, and I have my APC. Just wondering if you had any available place in your organization, and I'll be happy to work for you. I'm bringing to the table. I've treated social condition. I've worked in social clinics, so things like that. That's a cold email. It's one of the most effective ways of getting a job, and it's the way to get the jobs is go online. There are a list of companies that are accredited to sponsor people to Australia. Look for the lists. You see the names of the companies there and look for their websites. Send each of them an email. Just keep sending, and definitely you will hear from them. That's one way. Another way is go on LinkedIn. Look for companies in Australia, look for their HR, look for their directors, send them an email, introduce yourself, tell them your license, tell them looking for a job. Is there any opening in their company? And simple as that. And then you have the traditional way. You can go on Seek, you can go on Jora, you can go on Indeed, Indeed Australia, of course, not Indeed UK. And then you
Even sick
apply.
Australia, because I think we have sick UK.
Oh, I didn't even know. I think but Seek have a template of CV. Just download the template, include your credentials there, upload your CV, start looking for a job. Just don't look for jobs that are beyond you.
Your physiotherapist role, they
Yeah,
don't have their
don't look.
relax. Okay, so
Yeah.
after getting the job, what's the next step? I've gotten my license, I have a job now. I'm still in Nigeria. What's the next step?
Okay, so once you get your license, again, I'm still in the UK, so I've not
Yeah.
gone to Australia. But this is based on every other person that has gone and how they went. So what they do is they will send you your contract to look at. If you're happy with the salary, what they want to pay you, the package. And if you're happy, you sign it. Some employers would say you will pay for your visa yourself. Some will pay for you, and usually it's the 482 visa that they usually give physiotherapists. And have the agreement with your employer and just discuss with them and say, look, when are you going to sponsor me for my visa? If possible, and stuff like that. Then they send you your documents. Then you start your visa registry, your visa processes, medicals. That's all. Of course, the visa process is a little bit stressful because of a lot of people get confused filling those forms. It's not easy at all. But the best thing is, and that's why I created the WhatsApp group. If you have somebody that can guide you through the process, just enter the group, tell them, look, I beg, is there anybody that has done this process? I beg, please guide me through, and then just chat with somebody.
Are you happy for people to join your group or
Yeah, of course.
yeah,
As long as the person is a physio, yeah, you're free to join. Yeah,
any physio can just join? You don't
any
have any.
physio can.
Oh,
No,
okay,
no,
that's
no,
good.
no, any physio
So
can just
probably you
join.
just say the WhatsApp group.
Wait,
What's the salary range for physiotherapists, like newly qualified physio entering Australia?
okay. Now, of course, Australia has a grade for their government jobs. Well, because you're coming as a migrant, you cannot get the jobs into government jobs. You can't get those positions into government jobs. So you should most
Right.
likely come. I don't know. They usually ask for PR or citizenship,
Yeah.
which we don't have. So mostly we come through private companies. Now, private companies obviously they pay based on their pockets, how much they have. But what I did was in our group, like I said, we have a number of people that have migrated already. So we did a survey of how many people have left, what is the salary they are paying you. So from that, we looked at what's the highest amount of salary somebody from Nigeria has gotten to work in Australia, and what is the lowest amount of salary somebody that's in Australia, if the therapist has gotten to. And then we looked at what was the factor that influenced your salary being higher and what was the factor that influenced your salary being lower than the other person. Two things were major. One is years of experience. Secondly is the company in question. Then we also noticed that a few amount of people have left from UK to Australia as well. Just people like you now that ran away. If you are moving from UK to Australia, your salary is higher than somebody coming from Nigeria to Australia too.
Even if you both have the same years of
Even
experience,
if you both have the same years of experience.
that's unfair.
Yeah, it's
It
unfair,
doesn't
but
happen in London.
the standard of practice, I won't blame them.
Me,
I
I
won't,
blame them.
I won't blame them.
It's just like in Dubai,
Yeah,
UAE, Saudi Arabia. They pay people with British passport or US passport more than somebody with African passport, which I feel like it's bias. You should pay me as much as like my years of experience and what I'm able to do, not where exactly I'm coming from.
Let me give you an example. Nigeria is not a member of the International Federation of Orthopedic and Manual Physical Therapy. That's the IFOMT. UK is a member. Australia is a member. New Zealand is a member. The IFOMT is a subgroup of the World Confederation of Physiotherapy. Now, with that, and the IFOMT has a standard. If you are a member, your musculoskeletal physiotherapist must adhere to a standard. The standard is very, very strict. I'm trying to be a member of the organization. I'm still struggling. Now, Nigeria is not a member. And so something like that, if you're a member of the IFOMT, what that means is that you're an advanced practice physiotherapist recognized internationally. Now, imagine somebody who has gone through that process to become a recognized advanced practice physiotherapist recognized in the US, New Zealand, Australia, UK, Canada. You now compare that person to someone in Nigeria. No, it doesn't make sense.
So is it that extra licensure you have,
Yeah,
or is it like a
y-
graduate?
y-
Yeah.
there are two ways to become a member. One, you have to go to a university to do your masters in musculoskeletal physiotherapist in one of those universities. UK has about 5 to 7 universities accredited. New Zealand has their universities, Australia has their universities, US, all the countries have their universities. If you didn't do your masters in those countries, then you have to go through the portfolio route. You submit years of portfolio, about 2 years worth of portfolio, proving that you meet the standard.
Okay.
And the standard is really, really tough. You spend a lot of
So I
money.
think
So
if the way you have explained it now is quite understandable, because now
yeah,
this person has more licensure or more recognition, and this person has more years of experience, like getting the portfolio you have to do it, how many number of patients you've seen, these cases, this case. So which makes more sense. I was thinking that maybe somebody that has just normal years in UK and normal years in Nigeria. That was when I was thinking it's not fair. But yeah, if you've gone higher and you have more certificate, more license, or more recognition, definitely you should be paid more.